Hey, board gamers, PJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back in the Gumbo Pot. It's another episode of Gumbo Live. It's episode number 141. Don't forget, Gumbo Live is the #1 Facebook Live talk show, Steve, in Cooperstown, New York. That's right, dedicated to board gaming, of course. Our special guest tonight, we're hoping it's Keith Law. Keith is a writer, and this is the middle of baseball season, and he's got a bunch of commitments. So we're keeping an eye on him in the lounge to see if he shows up. But he did have a couple other commitments. That's why we had to move it to tonight. We're going to sneak him in. But if not, I do have a couple of friends here to talk and chat with you about that. But our guest tonight, if he's able to show, is Keith Law. He's the author of The Inside Game, Smart Baseball, and he's a senior baseball writer, not only for The Athletic, former writer for ESPN, and more. That's where I remember him from, and more particularly for our show, he does board game writing for Paste Magazine, and I've actually been reading his stuff for years. So hit us up on social media tonight, on Twitter, on Facebook, at Board Game Gumbo, and we'll be looking for your questions in the chat. Hey, we already have a couple of people checking in. Patrick Newman, it's Taco Tuesday. Patrick, am I going to see you at BGCon this weekend? Come on, man. Let's see if we can play some games together. And I'm going to bring in the Gumbo Overlord, Verla. What's up?
Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday.
It is. Happy Taco Tuesday. What's up, Steve?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Steve, fresh off your wonderful appearance in Meepletown a couple of months ago, right?
Right back at you, BJ.
We did have fun on that show, right?
It's hard not to have fun with Dean.
Verla, we didn't even plan this either, by the way. Steve and I hadn't even talked to you about what I was doing, and we both had the same idea.
Oh,
we both had the same bit.
We both did our versions of Johnny Meepletown, I guess.
Yeah,
I forgot who I was.
I was Johnny Placeholder.
Yeah, you were Johnny Placeholder.
I can't remember what yours was.
I was Johnny.
Your episodes.
I
listened to Steve's.
Oh yeah, you missed mine. Oh,
I think I listened to it. I'm just trying to remember.
Was mine Johnny Mouse Ears? Man, I can't even remember.
Maybe.
What it was.
Oh, you guys talked about Disney. Yes, I listened to yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though
Patrick Newman checking in. Happy Taco Tuesday. I actually had quesadillas, Patrick, so I didn't have tacos, but I had some homemade quesadillas. And he's going to BGG in November. Oh, he got his Sobo badges already.
Nice.
Hey, I had a meeting today, Patrick, and with some of the playthroughs, you're not going to want to miss some of these playthroughs. We got some really outstanding ones this year, so keep an eye out for that. All right.
Have you sent Patrick the commission for giving you the intro there? For Sobo, you this is like hand feeding you the opportunity to go into Sobo mode.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy him a root beer or something. I'll buy you an Abita root beer, Patrick, because you're right. Every time he comes on, he gives me an excuse to talk about Sobo.
That was hanging curveball there.
It was a hanging curveball. Yeah. So by the way, tickets just went on sale today. It's the weekend of October 15th. It's officially Saturday and Sunday. But Dr. Gumbo is going to have some festivities on that Friday night. In fact, I'm probably going to enlist Patrick to help me out with some of them. So we're going to be doing some gaming and some drinking some root beer on the Friday night before. So should be a lot of fun. And of course, Verla, you and Steve are welcome. Kelly, your playing partner has not gotten here tonight yet. We're still looking for Keith Law. So if you see him active on PGA, tell him to get over here. So
Kelly will take care of that.
Southern Board Game Fest. It is a fundraiser for the New Hope Foundation, which provides mentoring services for disadvantaged youth on the north side of town. So it's a fantastic charity. Had a great meeting with the director about a week or two ago. He told me about their summer program and what they're doing. It's fantastic. So they're really doing a good job, and I'm super happy to support that. And yeah, Patrick and Cindy, we're going to need your help. So I'll be in touch on that. Verla, what have you been playing lately? Anything good?
Oh, what have I been playing? Let's see. We played Red Cathedral recently.
Love.
That's always good. I think I've played that probably getting up towards 20 times at this point.
What about are you a Contractors fan, or do you just play the base game?
We played the base game. My friend got the expansion. We were really excited to try it because we'd heard great things, but all of us ended up feeling like we're really happy with the base game and haven't played it out yet enough to feel like we needed the Contractors. So
I enjoyed the Contractors, but like you, I find the base game is all I need. Steve,
It's really interesting.
Have you played Red Cathedral, Steve?
I have played Red Cathedral. Actually, I think Verla and I had both of our first play at ChuckCon 1 with.
Oh yeah, we did. Yes.
Yep. And I have not played Contractors, but it is one of those games where I think I haven't explored it enough to even want to expand yet. And it's funny how you mentioned, that you're kind of feeling the same way. There are some games I think are really, really strong, and I never get tired of them. And it's not something that needs to be expanded. It just has to be as good as it is, and I love it already. Just play more.
Yeah.
Some of the games are like that. Like some of them are just, you got to put the expansion in. I'm not sure that's one, but it's not one that desecrates the game. I mean, I enjoyed the Contractors. I enjoyed the puzzle, but Kelly said that Keith just finished beating Verla and Kelly in a game of Castle of Burgundy. How good is he?
Well, Mom was in third. She was a good ways behind us. Okay. Sorry, Kelly. But Keith beat me by, I think it was either 2 or 4 points. It was really close.
Okay. Yeah.
Really, really close.
Love those games where it comes down to the end.
Steve and I, in a long, we've been doing this for months with our little 4 group.
Yep.
We're going through all of the boards, and we were starting to get bored of the thing with, everybody had different boards and some of them are just inherently better. So now we compete against each other on the same board. Mm-hmm. So there's no hiding, Steve.
No.
Yeah.
The only problem is it really becomes less about the board and it becomes more about the dice rolls, unfortunately. Sometimes you just get hosed.
Yeah. It does make it perhaps a game that already has some good tactics to it becomes, I think, even more tactical at that point. You do have to have the long plan.
Yeah.
But if you're getting beat to a certain area, you've got to zig.
It's funny how the thing that everybody says is overpowered, the big green areas, and you get all the animals, and if you get all the pigs are going. It's funny how little the animals win in our little shark game of a score. Like if you're going all animals, you might be in 3rd place or 4th place.
That is true.
Although there was one that I want to say either you or Jared in particular won because y'all are going really heavy in animals, and it was that big animal area. That's worth a lot of points. If you can do that.
So many times I think that people will say a game is broken, and really what it means is that the people that you're playing with are not on the same page. Yeah, because some of that brokenness needs to be defended. I found this in playing A Few Acres of Snow with Luke online. They say it's broken strategy if you play the Halifax Hammer. Well, no. So long as the other person knows that there's this thing called the Halifax Hammer, it can be defended. Yeah. It has to be.
The Loki strategy in Blood Rage. It's neutered if you know it, you know how to defeat it. Yeah.
Yep.
Patrick says Space Explorers expansion coming out soon. Oh yeah. I didn't I have not played that. I haven't even seen the prototype, but I love Space Explorers. So that any of you played Space Explorers before?
I have not.
It's like if Splendor got a PhD.
Bring it to ChuckCon.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I've got the mat and I've got the game. I'll bring it. Yeah.
All right.
On the list. I just might go to ChuckCon if y'all are going to play Space Explorers.
You might have to, so you can bring it to us.
We're waiting on Keith Law. We're trying to add guests here, BJ. Right, you're going to lose 2 of them pretty quickly here with the shtick.
ChuckCon. Any other details we need to know about? I don't think so. I think we're all happy with the new situation, right?
I think we're all happy with it. I think it's a good fit for us. Yep.
Well, Patrick, I want to know, and yes, bring Space Explorers to Sobo. Bring your expansion because I definitely want to try that. So, and I'll bring Space Explorers with us to Sobo. Yep. Well, we had talked about a little topic to see what people thought. Unless, Steve, you have something you played recently? Oh, yeah, before we get to...
I have not been playing in person that much, but I have played Spots a little bit online and finding that as a fun little dice game.
I don't know this one. I've seen it on BGA, but I don't know what it is.
It is a dice placement. It's dice placement where you're...
You know what I know about it?
Yeah.
That Kelly posted one time and said, hey, they posted Spots. Let's learn how to play it. That's it.
Yeah, that's about it. That was what got me interested. The gimmick on that one is that the cards that have places where you're going to put your dice are white dogs. They're Dalmatians with black spots. So you're placing your dice on it as the number die, but it ends up creating and completing the dog's spots patterns.
That sounds delightful.
Clever little thing. But essentially, you're rolling dice and adding cards to your hand for points, and you get rerolls. Verla, Kelly is telling you, spots is in her armada, so that's going to be something you'll have to play with Kelly. It's a cool little game. I wouldn't say that it's anything terribly deep, but it really serves a role for that intro dice placement collection kind of thing. And you can push your luck a little bit with it by rolling more, but you have the possibility of busting if you can't place dice, and you then have to put them off to the side. If your dice off to the side ever get set higher than 7, you lose all your progress.
Is this it?
That's the one. Yep.
So what are we?
Oh, that looks so cute.
It absolutely.
I do like the artwork.
It's absolutely cute. Don Lyles is checking in.
Hey, Don, what's up? Great to see you. Waiting on Keith Law to show up. He had a thing to do with his daughter, so hopefully he can get that recital done, and then he'll come visit with us.
Yep. And if they're having extra encores, it means that family's getting a great show.
Hey, that's right. I mean, I'm happy
for that.
So Don, Steve is telling us the name father played spots on BGA, and he's telling us all about it. What are we looking at here?
What you're looking at here is essentially everyone's going to be drafting dog cards to be in front of them as part of their pack. And as you complete them by rolling dice and taking from, I think there are 6 across the top actions that you can take are roll 1. And if you can place it, you're allowed to roll 1 more, or you can draft more dogs, or you can re-roll the ones that are off to the side. Or you can do a mega roll of 8 dice and just pick one number from those and place all the ones that you can. Essentially, you're completing these dogs with dice placement. Yep, that's the gist. Dogs have spots. Place your dice on the right spots. The dice have spots. Complete your dogs and score them. But it's roll for it with Dalmatians. That's nicely put down.
Is that a pretty good description though?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. It's cute. Roll for it. It's cute. Dog. Roll for it.
This just looks so charming.
Yeah.
So delightful.
Kelly and Eric and I are playing this one and liking it.
I'm going to check this out, see if it's at BGG, because, this looks like you just finished playing like the Marrakesh or something, and you want a little, you want to kind of rest your brain a little bit. Mountain Goats was the one we did at BGG Con last year or 2 years ago. Because that one was just easy. Throw it on the table and, you're not really thinking, you're just pushing people off the top of the mountain.
This looks like one of those games. One that is in competition with Can't Stop. This one feels like it's in competition with Roll for It. Exactly good. The way Don was saying.
Okay.
Verla, this looks fun, though.
Yeah, it does. And the little bones that you get there are rerolls.
Oh, okay. Nice. So that's the little nugget that lets you change.
You could bust, but you could spend your dog bone and get a reroll.
So somebody looked at these white dice with the black dots and said, "Oh man, these look like Dalmatians, right?"
Nailed it.
That's where the game came from, I bet.
The idea for the game was probably the clever peek at how this would work, and then designing a game around that. I haven't played it on the table. I've only played it online, but I imagine on the table it'd be nothing but cuter.
Patrick, I think it's required that you have a dog when you play. So your sister would probably like this game. So
agreed.
All right. I like what I'm seeing there. That's pretty cool.
Did end up liking this enough that I have Daybreak coming, which is the climate change Matt Leacock game.
Yeah.
But it's the same folks who did spots, and you could add spots to your pledge afterwards. So I tossed that in there, and that should be coming sometime in June.
Nice.
I'm game on that one. So let's get this going here. I am curious to see if any of you have played any of these things. So, all right, everybody in the chat crew, they announced the Spiel des Jahres nominations. I don't have a picture of the recommendations, and unfortunately, it was more of the recommended games that I've played.
Me too.
I may try to find a picture of that. But these are the ones that are nominated in the Kinderspiel, which is for the kids, and then the regular Spiel des Jahres, which is the family way games, and then the Kinderspiel or the connoisseur or expert level games. Although that's kind of weighted down the past few years, they're not going as heavy on the BGG scale so much anymore. There's plenty of other awards that do that, and I think rightly they've recognized that, hey, we're looking at German families that are buying games. Let's stick to that. And let's remember, this is a German award, so this is German families. Some of these games we may say, well, Next Station London's been out forever, but it's just getting to Germany. So we're looking at the last 2 years. Right. It has to be published in German in the last 2 years. So just because it was published in America, what was that game last year that was like 5 or 6 years old, but it had never been published in Germany. Mm-hmm. So it was never eligible. So Kevin says Akropolis on the recommended. He has loved his plays of that. Is that live or BGA?
We played it live. Kevin and Luke and I have played it on the table.
Well, let's start with.
Well, Kevin played and Luke and I were beaten. But
it's
yeah.
You also played. So
yeah, I was there.
So it's not on the list, but it is on the recommended list.
Yes.
Tell us about Akropolis, Steve, if you know anything about it.
Yeah, Akropolis was one that we may have chatted about here a couple of shows back. It is a...
Did we? I think you talked about it with Dean, right?
Maybe I might be getting confused as to whether I talked about it with Dean or I thought I remembered Verla thinking that this was one that was going to be appealing to her too. It's a tile placement game. It's tile placement, and there is a kind of a draft, kind of auction kind of thing where there is a row of tiles available to you, and the tiles are all available in hexes of in 3 hex conditions. So you can basically put this down in place. And be adjoining, so it's kind of going to have that fitting together kind of placement, but it adds the number 9 mechanic where you stack on top of things.
Oh, I like that mechanic.
And the mechanic is you can't ever stack over an empty space, but if you stack up to the next level, and so when you're seeing down from above, you'll see, for example, in that particular picture, those 2 red that are next to each other, but one is a level higher.
Yeah,
they would count as adjoining because looking down from above, red seems to be touching red.
Okay,
you're doing this in a draft in such a way that the parks, the red need to be on your borders because they're the military protecting you. The merchants, I think, are the yellows. They need to be separated from each other because nobody wants to be in competition with the merchant right next to them. So each color has its own scoring mechanism, but then you score it looking down from above. And you take into account the layer that they're on as the multiplier, the points increasing. So it's a 3-dimensional vertical puzzle as well as stacking thing, or lining them up and trying to get the greatest coverage as well.
Yeah, I was letting Patrick know that Akropolis was at last year's BGCon. I've noticed that a lot of games lately have been doing this where you're putting stuff on top and kind of stacking it. I've been playing Akropolis. I think you're a fan of Sprawlopolis, right?
Oh, yeah.
Verla, have you played any of those games?
I haven't played it.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I've never played Sprawlopolis, so I don't know if it's the exact same, but Naturopolis.
There you go.
Naturopolis, I was having trouble losing the first couple of times because I was just putting them adjoining. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. I'm looking at the rules, and they're giving us the hint. You got to cover spaces that aren't good for you, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got that's that tricky little mechanic of covering, and getting bonuses.
Harder with cards because they slide a little bit more.
Yeah, true.
These are good chunky tiles. So once they're placed, unless you really jostle it, it's gonna hold. It's gonna do a good job staying in place.
What's the playtime on this?
Probably a half hour.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh, this is a good shot.
So that's a good shot right there, and you can see that. That in both cases,
all these blues are next to each other. Even
those blues would all be counted as next to each other. And notice the ones that have the orb with the stars in them. Those are the ones that you'll multiply by to give your points.
Okay.
So as you collect the stars, that tells what your multiplier for blue will be. But the blues that are on the bottom level are worth a point. But then the 2 blues that are on the second level will be worth 2 points. And then they'll also multiply times 3 because you've got 3 blue stars showing. So at the end of the game, there is some accounting, but it's not really painful. The puzzle does that. The choices are tough.
Does that thing where you have more points as you get higher up the. Does Teotihuacan do that? No, it's more.
I think so.
Or is that more just the resource you get? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a little thing with Teotihuacan where you're trying to stack up the little tiles
you're building the pyramid.
You are building the pyramid, but it just changes as you move. You're kind of moving more on tracks with that rather than stacking so much. You do get more points as you're building the pyramid as you're going up higher levels simply because they're worth more, but I don't know that it's necessarily multiplied that
I don't think there's multipliers.
I think it's just built in the track for points. Remember that right, Verla?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This one, I think we did talk about it because I was saying before, this reminds me of Reef, how you're looking from the top-down view for scoring.
That top-down.
And Steve and Mom and I attempted this online, but my mom and I have not played it on the table. It didn't go super well. But I think because of the 3D thing and just the spatial aspects of it. So I'm really looking forward to trying this actually in a hard copy.
The holding in your hands and rotating is the tactile here would probably be good.
I was looking over there,
It's
man.
coming.
I totally miss playing Reef. It was at the STM at the little high school board game club for forever, and I finally got it back. I miss playing with my wife, even at 2 players. Reef is just so much fun. Oh,
I love Reef.
Hey, look who's here!
Enough.
Duga,
the Duga.
Hello.
Duga and his family are already out there in Dallas, so fantastic. Okay. And yes, go Stars, although they're down 2-0. Dave, it's not looking so good.
Are you talking about a sport?
Talking about
hockey. I knew that, guys. I knew that.
I will remember hocky next year.
I lived in Dallas for 8 years.
I can put Dallas and Stars together. That's about as much hockey that I can really. Yeah, I just don't know that much about hockey, but I love listening to you and Alex talk about it. So so Dave's already at BGG Con, so we're going to be seeing him at BGG Spring. Can't wait to see that. Well, Akropolis, that's one I definitely want to check out. So
this is the only one that is on my list so far of things I know I'm bringing to ChuckCon. So it'll be there.
Yay.
All right, so back to the list. If anybody in the chat crew has the recommended list and they want to talk about games, I am happy to talk about those. But of this whole list, I think that Verla, you were saying you hadn't played any of these yet, right?
I hadn't heard of most of them. I've played Next Station London. I play it online all the time. I haven't played it on the table, and it's fun. Planet Unknown, I was so excited to see on here because that was really tied with Tilatum for my #1 game last year that came out.
Oh, I didn't realize you're a big fan about Planet Unknown.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely
and Steve,
adore
you have not played that yet, right?
I have not. No.
So this one is another one I've been playing recently. When I initially started playing it, my game group had been playing it, and we just love it because it goes to 6 players, but there's no downtime between turns. Sometimes, games that aren't party games that play that high of a player count are kind of few and far between. And when you find them, it's like, oh, it's lagging because it's going to take so long to get back around to my turn. But not with this, because everybody is doing something. Everybody is picking a tile. If it's the active player's turn, they're the one that gets to decide like the best tile for them and rotate that wonderful Lazy Susan full of your tiles. And then everybody else has to pick where their spot is based on where the active player picked from. So we'd really been loving that, playing it, like I said, at 5 to 6. But my brother and I recently decided we were going to bust it out and just see how it played at 2, which I wasn't really sure about because it plays so well at that higher count that I really thought this might stink at only 2 players. It didn't. It was just as glorious. And we've had so much fun with it. It scales really well. We started playing with there's different maps, and to the right in that picture, there's different, I think they're called corporation boards. And so that you've got like asymmetrical starting powers and stuff, and your different boards have different rules on them. So we've been playing around with that, and that's been really fun and challenging because some of them are like, okay, if you combine this map with this board, what is that going to do? Do these work well together? Or are they going to?
Verla, some of these maps are they're just wacko, man. They're really wild. So I really love it because I don't love Terraforming Mars. I don't tend to love space themed games. I don't hate them, but it doesn't really call to me. And Terraforming Mars itself, I'm just not a fan. So I didn't have high expectations for liking this, but I dig it so much. And I think, it's the polyominoes, which I love, Tetris-y polyomino tile placement games. I love terraforming my planets in this game. It's just so satisfying. Okay. You get these meteorites, you have your little rover, and if you get the red pieces on the board, you can move your rover to knock out the meteorites, and it's fantastic. Steve, I have a feeling we're never going to get her to play that Martian baseball game that you and I are designing. Sports in space.
Yeah.
Not on Verla's list.
The Martian pastime.
Hey, I've played Phillips game, Baseball Highlights 2045. I'm not good at it, but fantastic. I've played it a couple times and it's really fun.
I really dig Planet Unknown. The production is really great. The first time I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. The more you play, the more fun it is because, yes, it is multiplayer solitaire. I don't care about that because I love those kind of games. But the challenge of, like in Castle of Burgundy, you're building out your map. But once you've played it a couple of times, it kind of, it's you kind of know where it's going, right? This thing, it just depends on what's coming out. And I mean, my map has been completely different every single time, you know?
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. Kelly is also talking about one of the things that I love about it. And I totally forgot about it. It's got that thing where when you're going up tracks, they kind of bounce to other stuff and give you benefits to other things.
Yeah.
And that's fun trying to hit those marks. So I like that a lot.
I would be interested in this.
Who owns it? Anybody owns it?
I own it. So I had been holding out, and you probably thought I hadn't played it because I'd been holding out for so long. I really wanted the deluxe version, but that was like impossible to get unless you want to pay $250, $300 for people that are scalping it.
Oh, wow. I wonder if Eric has it.
So hard to get. But I managed to get my hands on a retail edition, and it actually, I don't feel like it was that much of a downgrade. My friend has the deluxe, and
what's the difference?
I was like,
is it you don't get the Lazy Susan?
You do get the Lazy Susan still. In the retail version, the little meteorites and the water pods, the blue pods, are wood, which usually that's the upgrade. They're plastic, like kind of the soft, almost gummy plastic in the other game, in the deluxe version. And then the deluxe version, I think you get a few more, like maybe 4 more maps.
Okay. Well, then I played that one, the one, because we had a ton of maps on there. There he is. Hey, Dean, we were just talking about you a while back. So thank you for checking in. We're talking Planet Unknown. I've played, Verla's played, Steve hasn't played it yet, but going to play it at ChuckCon, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
you know what's cool about it? I forgot what the play count. It's 5 or 6, something like that.
6. It goes to 6.
Oh, that's a perfect ChuckCon game.
Have you played at 6?
That's what we started
out.
I played
at 5.
Okay.
I played at 5.
All right. Good to hear.
There's really no downtime.
It's great.
I'm pleased to hear that. That's the thing that makes me nervous about anything that kind of looks, like it's got a Euro-y component. I'm thinking that 4 is the max at the table because you cross a point at which it starts to bog down a little bit. But it doesn't sound like
that's what I'm telling you. That is what is so fantastic about this game is that it doesn't have that issue.
Great.
Everybody's doing something.
Okay.
I'm staying busy. I love it. I can't stop talking about it.
And this is not a negative, but the weird thing that I found, and maybe it's just because I've only played it 2 or 3 times, and you got to dig more into the game. And so it's sort of talking about what you were talking about being, is a game really broken if you're, that's what I'm talking about with Planet Unknown. The thing that I found is it didn't really seem to matter. I'm saying it wrong. When you're picking your particular area, I guess you could say, well, I want to pick this one because it's the second best choice for me, but it's going to be the 4th worst choice for Verla.
Are you talking picking your tiles or choosing a map?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about choosing the tiles on the Susan.
Okay.
I never got that far. I always picked based on what I wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I didn't worry about what other people are getting because it seems like that would just be too much thinking. Because especially I've never played it in a small player count. Mine have always been 4 or 5 players. So I don't know, maybe in a 2-player you would be more cognizant of what the other player is picking.
We were a little bit more so with 2-player. We filled up our boards, I think, every 2-player game that we've played, and that hasn't always been the case. I don't know if that's ever been the case in our higher player count games. I don't know. Dean says 2-player and solo are his favorite. I have not tried it solo because I don't tend to be a solo gamer, but I love this so much. And my brother's about to move out and I won't have a built-in gaming partner anymore. So I might have to start soloing it. I'll let you know what I think.
Dean's been the solo king lately.
He has been. Yeah.
I've tried.
I want to pull back to an earlier comment. I see Don earlier back said that sea salt paper was on the recommended. And I totally agree with him that I would love to see that get more attention for 1, which will mean hopefully makes it more available for 2.
Oh, poor Dean. No friends, he said. No friends. We know that's not true. We know that's not true, Dean. Hey, guess which guy has 2 thumbs and has a copy of Sea Salt and Paper on the way from California?
Nice.
I found a copy.
Coming to ChuckCon, right? I've played it once or twice on BGA now. If you guys want to send me invites, I'm happy to play it anytime. I really liked it.
Absolutely.
Steve, take a break right now. Send an invite because
go set it up.
No, I will literally play. See, I am addicted to that game.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I want to play it more.
Verla, I've probably played it. If I had to guess, I'll probably have 35 or 40 plays. And Jared, Jared's in the hundreds now. I always have a game at least with 2 or 3 different people. I played it with Don and the Geek All-Star guys. I played it with Jared and the Gumbo guys. Played it with the the Board Boys guys. Oh man, that's just I can't even explain, Steve, why I like this game so much. Have you played it?
I have played.
Yeah.
I've only played it online.
Yeah,
but I do like it an awful lot, and I think it's. I'm just kind of tickled that the idea of two-dimensional origami still feels cool.
Yeah,
you've got these cards, and I would say, oh, but it's origami. Where's the sculpture to it? It's there. It's still there. I really think it's just so pleasant. Really,
I'm totally worried.
To say another word than that.
I'm totally worried that it's not going to play well in person like it is on BGA.
Oh.
It is perfect on BGA. It's just perfect. I like any game that has multiple ways of shooting the moon, because you can just go for the points, you can just go for the colors, or you can shoot the moon with those the penguins, or what's the plant thing, not the plant, what is it, the seashells, or the ultimate shoot the moon, the mermaids, right?
Mermaids, yeah.
So any one of those things. There's like 5 different strategies: colors, points, being really aggressive with trying to take multiple turns and getting, lots of stealing cards. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 different ways to win this game.
Right.
And, obviously the one that's going to lose most of the time is the mermaids. But if I ever won with the mermaids, I would literally be dancing in the room, just like throwing my hat down, like, oh, I pulled it.
Honestly, now, if you ever won with the mermaids, I'd probably never have to play the game again, because I know that every time it would come up, it would be, hey, remember that one time? Remember that one time I won with the mermaids?
Dean said, I told someone the mermaid win never happens on his first game, and he won with the mermaids. So Cam told me, either Cam or Jared told me they played in a game the other day and somebody won with the 4 mermaids. I've been in a loss where somebody got the 4 mermaids, and we didn't even know, because they were I forgot how they were pulling them. They were like like he got one, he stole one from somebody else, he pulled one up, so there was no real way to track. That is the only bad thing on BGA, because you can't really track. So I'm worried about what it's going to be like playing in person, that I'm going to be disappointed that it's not going to be as much fun,
I think I'm looking forward to playing it more in person, because I think I'll have a better handle on the how to push the round end stuff in that game. Yeah. Because at some point or another during the game, I'm just thinking, I could take another card. I am not really thinking too terribly hard about, should I take another card?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think that might come to me a little bit more clearly with the actual face-to-face on the table copy.
Yeah, well, I've had so many epic games of that, big high point swings. It's just, it's like Papa U when we were playing Papa U all the time. It's one of those games where you feel like you're in control. You're probably not as in control as much as you think you are, and then all of a sudden you are in control. It's like this highs and lows. So Sea Salt and Paper, I've been on that game since I saw Bruno Cathala do a video of it before that Essen, whatever it was, a year or 2 ago. And I put it on my Essen list, and I have yet to ever see it in person or even have a chance to get one. Yeah. But I found somebody, I missed out on a couple of them in the VFM with Board Game Geek. I was so mad, even though I'm clicking on it every day, I missed a couple of people selling them. And then there was one on eBay out of California. This guy had one, he had an extra copy, and it wasn't a bad price. So
okay, nice.
I don't know how else to get it. You can't get it anywhere.
Yeah.
How can a card game be so hard to find? Like that seems like it's easy to print.
Should be.
You'd think.
Well, I'm glad to see that. So that is, let me get back to the thing. So we got off on the recommended games there.
Yeah.
But let's see. Planet Unknown. I mean, actually, Next Station London, it's a game that's been out for a while, and I really love that game. I did a video for the Dice Tower on that one. I really like that one. But if I had to talk about the game of this list that I'm most excited to play, and that would be, I think, Challengers, and that's based on Alex Goldsmith texting me and Steve and tell me how much fun he had it, because it really wasn't on my radar. I saw Dice Tower. It didn't seem that interesting. But anybody have any thoughts on Challengers or any of the other games?
I don't know anything about most of the other ones, like Dorf Romantique, Ike, however you pronounce that. Fun facts, I've never even heard of. This Gigamon I haven't heard of. That looks like a cupcake something in the corner.
Look, there's Jared.
That's Carla Caramel.
Jared heard us talking about sea salt and paper and jumped in, I'm sure. Like his ears were burning.
You said sea salt, paper 3 times.
Yep.
And he appeared.
And Jared appears.
The only other one that I have on there that has been on my radar before is Iki. And I don't know much about the game, but having seen the art for it, I was really attracted to the look of it. But that, that can draw me in. I would still need to see the game. I don't know much about it other than it's a reprint or a redoing or reskinning of an earlier game that was still Japanese in theme, but I think it's just been pumped up with its artwork.
Let's see if I can find it somewhere, because I don't know anything about it. It's a brand new game, right?
Iki? Yeah. I don't think so. I think it's from back in 2015, but it might just be new to the German market. If I was looking it back up, I think it was back then that it came to my attention, but I've never seen it.
No, you're right. 2015.
I've never seen it in person.
Well, this goes exactly what we were talking about. That it must never have been published in Germany. So some people that have had this game for almost 10 years are like, wait, what? It's up for a STJ this year? And this is on the Kennerspiel or the regular?
That's
STJ?
A good question. Iki is on the Kennerspiel with Planet Unknown and Challengers.
Okay. So the Connoisseur's game.
Yep.
Does anybody know anything about? I mean, I like the production.
I know nothing about the gameplay other than looking at it. I thought it was pleasant to look at. I thought it had some potential.
It is.
I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking
certainly
the production,
is engaging
the big meeples.
By its aesthetics.
Does anybody have it up? What are the mechanics? What kind of?
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
It looks worker placement.
Steve has it up.
I'm guessing.
I had it open a second ago.
I'm gonna have to add this to the list for BGG. I don't know if you know this, Verla. They fly over one of the jury members who comes with a suitcase full of every game that's been nominated. And
when I went to BGG Spring in 2019, they had that. They had all the judges there. I think they were choosing at that event or something, or maybe announcing.
The list of mechanisms says open drafting, pattern building, point-to-point movement, rondel, and set collection.
Rondel?
You've got me at rondel.
I have rondel, yeah. Totally.
Where, though?
And set collection.
Yep.
Where would the rondel be?
Do not know. I wonder if maybe you're moving around the outside of the board is kind of like the rondel. Or maybe it's the inside. Maybe it's more like those are locations a la Istanbul.
Oh,
you're moving. It might be that
or
perhaps
Yokohama?
those 6 in the middle are a movement area.
Okay.
Perhaps. Not sure. But I certainly like the look of it. It's had my attention.
Jared, what do you think? Is this we got to put this on the list, I think, right? I mean, my first goal is to play as many of the Dice Tower nominated games as possible. Because this will be my last chance before all the voting and stuff. After that, my second would be to play as many of the SDJs as possible, because these are the kind of games I like. This is the weight of game that I like. The Kennerspiel and the SDJ. These are the kind of games I like to play.
I think it was almost a dead solid 3 for weight on BGG.
Why do you say that Jason Dingwer low? Oh, because of the rondel. That's right, Patrick. Yeah. Jason loves those rondels.
And Thinker Themer too. They love, Amy, at least, I know, loves the rondel.
Rob's checking in from Dragon's Gate in Iowa. What?
Hello.
Hello, Rob from the Board Boys. Rob, we're talking all the games that have been nominated for the Spiel des Jahres while we're waiting for Keith Law to get in here. And Iki. So I know you've got a joke about it, but if you've played it, let us know, because I'd love to know about it. I mean, theoretically, lots of people in America have played it if it's been out that long, right?
Yeah. I wonder if it. Talk amongst yourselves while I'd love to see if this is even on Yukata, perhaps.
Verla, I'm telling you, man, I like the way this looks.
I do too. I want to give it a try. If anybody comes up with a copy between now and the end of July.
Oh man, this could be dangerous, because if they're selling it at the con and I like it, oh man.
It's not on Yukata. Okay.
He says there is one he wants to try, but he doesn't know which one it is. So look, I've got the list up here, Rob. Out of this list, the one Iki is now on there, Steve, and thank you for that. I definitely want to try Iki. Challengers is definitely going to get played, because that is also nominated. Fun facts I'm interested in. because I like Just One, and I like, you know, I like their games, so I'm interested in it.
Is that the same designer or same publisher as Just One? I'm guessing
Yeah,
it's a party
same
game.
people. Yeah, same people. No, same people. It's Repo Productions. Yeah, so Rob says that's the one. It's Challengers. Well, I'm definitely getting a game of that one in, Rob. Don says his choice would be Icky and Planet Unknown. That's two good choices. I'm going to play the Kinderspiels for sure, because I will tell anybody that's got a family out there, I have bought one of the Kinderspiel winners almost every year for the last 5 or 6 years, and they've always been great games. I mean, they're winners for a reason, right?
Yeah. We were chatting about this earlier in our little New York game group thread, and Kevin, to call back to his comment from earlier about Dorf Romantik, that's apparently a board game version of a video game that is very highly rated.
It's a video game built like a board game that has a board game that's built like the video game. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
They're in the board boys.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, that is the absolute truth. That's what it is. They're in the board boys basement, and they are about to record. Oh, cool.
Okay.
The unlock game is great. This is the triple unlock game that's built on board games. So it's Ticket to Ride, Pandemic, and something else. I don't remember what the third one is.
Clever.
Mysterium, maybe?
It looks like Mysterium, yeah.
I've heard the Ticket to Ride one is good. I don't know anything about the other two,
okay.
So I'd have to rely on Rob. And Patrick says, what about the one on the bottom? The one on the bottom is Carla Caramel. It's one of the Kinderspiel nominated games, but that's about as far. So unless somebody has BGG, I don't know it.
Yeah.
He said thematically, the unlocked games that are based on board games, Rob says they all really feel like the games. So,
okay. Good to know.
I'm kind of unlocked out. Detective is my favorite series of those games, those style of games. Next would be probably the Exit series, and then maybe Unlock. But I don't know.
Okay.
I do like the resettable nature of Unlock. That is the cool thing. Have you ever played the Unlock games?
I have played one Unlock game, I believe.
Really?
And I've played one of the adventure games, which was the dungeon one.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you, didn't I?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And my favorites still are the Exit games. Even though they are consumable, I still think I liked the Exit puzzles the most.
Detective, my favorite, because you build the little diorama.
Yes.
And the diorama really, I do have it right. It's Detective, right? Yeah.
Detective
is the Deckscape. The Deckscape ones, I don't like them as much.
Yeah.
The Detective one, you build out a diorama with cards, and the diorama is the clues for the game itself. So you're like a detective. You're inspecting the scene of the crime, and and then as you play cards, the cards actually go into the diorama and change the where you are in the scene. So you have played some of those, Steve.
I have played one of those. I played the one that was the something in the mirror.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
And I think you might have sent me that one too. And the thing that was clever about that was that it's a small little box, kind of like the size of, llama or something like that.
Yeah, like llama.
But you take the bottom out and put the bottom on the inside facing up, and then you have the slot where you can put the cards to create a little room. It's a very clever little puzzle that they created there. I wasn't good at it, but I liked what it was doing. It had a nice hook to it.
All right, we're giving our first Pinocchio award. Rob says he's played all the unlocks and exits so far, which is impossible. So we know he's not telling the truth, Rob. That is impossible. I'm calling shenanigans on that. Patrick says an ice cream themed game. Oh, Carla Caramel is an ice cream themed game.
Yeah. I think you're running an ice cream shop in that one.
I'm going to try all of them. And if I like one of them, I'll try to get it. Mysterium Kids is going to be fun. I mean, come on, man. Right?
Yes.
Because there's a million of them, Rob. There's no way you could play that many games, unlocked and exit. There must be like 100 of them all total.
If Mysterium Kids uses the same general mechanism that Mysterium does, where someone has to be the silent ghost, that could be really fun for kids to make their parent be the one who has to not talk and listen to them instead. I could see that being interesting. That was when we had Mysterium before I traded away. That was one of the way I got Kathy to be agreeable to playing the game. There was a role where somebody had to not talk at all, and she said, "Will you play that one?"
See you later, Rob.
Okay, we can play now. If you have to be quiet, we can play it.
Well, that's cool. That's a good one. Patrick says if we're talking food games, we got to talk about Donut Shop. Yeah, that's right. That's a fantastic one. Well, good luck to recording. Yep. Yeah, I'd like to play. I want to see if there's any new detective games because I'm ready for another one. It's Verla. It takes about an hour, and it's a perfect you and your sister, you and your brother, you and your wife, you and your child type of 1 hour night. It's like, oh, we got some food, we can play this game, you can talk it out. Steve, I know you probably we do follow the rules pretty well, but we're also there to have fun. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, it's not just an exit game. There's a set of rules that you have to follow in terms of card play and how you get the clues out. Right. But I'll be honest, we probably have taken some shortcuts over the years.
And is it like a one and done? Sorry, Steve.
Oh no, there's definitely an ending to the story. There's a story arc.
Yeah.
And there's a reveal for the mystery at the end. If I remember correctly, it's almost like a Sherlock Holmes consulting detective at the end where you have a point scale for could you answer the questions about what happened in the mystery?
But then can you replay it afterwards or no?
Absolutely. There's no destruction. You could there's no destruction of cards.
I mean, you couldn't play it again.
Oh, no.
But it is resettable like the unlock game.
It's resettable, but you can't play it again.
It's
like you would know what the end is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Once you know the ending, it's done for you, but it could be reset and passed along to somebody else. It's reusable, but not replayable.
The way I liken it to, I love I love the original Detective series by Portal Games. So if you've ever played Detective, but that is a 2 or 3 hour game for each one of the scenarios. They're long, right? Some of them 3.5 hours. There's a reason they're long. Because you're actually feeling, you've got the feels of a detective. You're questioning witnesses, and you're like, I'm going to run over here across town and do all this stuff. So it's a big adventure there. But Detective is 1 hour. But it actually feels a lot like that, except for the part about, questioning witnesses and stuff. But the rest of it, the looking at the cards and looking at the scene and turning the box around. And then, Steve, without spoiling anything, when you add cards in a certain way, and you didn't notice before, and it's like, look what they did with this game. Oh man, so
it is definitely clever. I still think I like the puzzles of Exit better, but the particular gimmick of Detective to create its little diorama was nicely done.
Cool.
All right, so Mysterium Kids, Carla Caramel, Patrick says, is an ice cream flavored game, and Gigamon. Do we know anything about Gigamon? It's Studio H.
I just pulled it up. It looked like it was memory. It looked like it was for very young children.
Okay.
With cute artwork.
Okay.
I'm terrible at those memory games.
I'm terrible at them, and therefore do not particularly like them very much.
Yeah.
So why do you want to try Challengers? Tell me about that. The box looks cool. That's all I know about it.
Good question.
Alex said it was deck building and not dodgeball. Capture the flag. What did he say?
Flag football.
Patrick, I did not back it. I did play it, but I did not back it. So probably should have. But and then we're talking about the Dark Water. It's pretty dark and it's pretty mature. So like the language is pretty. It's it was great. It was great implementation though. The only reason I didn't back the Dark Water, and I should have, is because I still have 2 scenarios or 1 scenario left on Destinies. And I'm like, I'm not going to get another Destinies game until I finish that one. So, but I do plan on getting
self-control.
I'm trying to, but I do plan on getting the Dark Water at some point though. That was too good of a game not to play at all, but Challengers. So it is Capture the Flag and deck building. No.
Oh, was that what he said?
I don't remember now.
It was in our little chat thread.
Yeah, it was in our little chat.
I'll pull it up.
All right, let me pull the game up so we can see it.
The description on BGG: capture the flag and hold on to it to win the tournament.
Okay. Yeah. And you do that by a deck building mechanic. So already you've got me because it's got deck building. I want to. I love deck building games. I don't know about the artwork. I don't know. We'll see.
I like the front of the box better than I'm liking this, but
yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Little play mats.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Is this like I wonder if this is is this the upgraded version or this is the base version? Any kind of deck building. No, it looks like that's the way it comes, right?
Yeah.
So it's
I like the mats.
I'm pretty sure it's team-based, right? Does that sound right?
Back to BGG I go.
I'm pretty sure it's team-based. And, you know, deck building and capture the flag. I mean,
it says tournament gameplay style so that you meet another opponent every round.
Okay, so that's what it is. Remember, I remember this now. You're actually sort of like doing a tournament play where you take on this person, and you take on this person, and you take on this person, and you're kind of competing with how well your deck can survive all these different games. So
okay, that makes sense.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm liking about this because it is different. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like any other game I could think of. It's designed by Johannes Krenner and Marcus Slowacek. This looks.
Well, you have to report back.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Deck building is not my thing.
No, that's not yours.
People who love it. It's something that I think is good, and I've enjoyed it just fine. But there's no craving to keep doing it for me.
Jared, are we in for BGG Con? Just try this one. I mean, I like the production. I don't know about the art though.
The art feels rather generic to me.
Kind of cartoony generic.
Yeah.
I trust Alex. I mean, Alex has never let us wrong, right?
No, I agree.
Oh, wow. We haven't seen Jesse in a while. Hello, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
We're talking some of the Spiel des Jahres games. I don't think we're going to see Keith Law tonight. What do you think?
I think we fought the law and the law won.
Nice. Oh, Stevie.
Hopefully, we'll have him come. We'll have him come back because we have some good things to talk about with him. Maybe we can reschedule and perhaps
do like
the season.
Yeah, because this is the end of the season, but maybe we could do like a special little summer type thing or something. Yeah. We'll see. We've done that before. We've done a couple of summer shows. Sure. Patrick says, Dominion, Star Realms, or Taverns of Tiefenthal. I'm not as big a fan of Star Realms as Jay Bell or any of those other people. I'm just, it's okay. I'm just, Dominion I love, but I haven't played it probably 4 years since the last time I played Dominion. It's been a while. And I have 2 expansions for it, but I have not played that in a while. I have never played Taverns of Tiefenthal, and Patrick is supposed to teach it to me one of these times at Sobel. I don't think we ever got a chance to play it. So
I've played it a couple of times. I'm not remembering that it was a deck builder.
I'm trusting Patrick on it. I don't remember.
I trust him. I really wanted to love that game. I had high hopes for it, but every time I've played it, it's just been kind of like, okay, I played. But I haven't played with any, I guess there's a bunch of modules and stuff, and we've only played the most base level, so that might amp it up, and
I haven't played it at all, but I think Wolfgang Warsch was just so white hot there for a while that there was going to be at least some point or another where if he made a good game, people would think it was bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, Quacks is still just, So I'll play it tonight. If you guys were here, we'd set it up and play it. It would make me very happy. I won't turn down a game of Quacks. I love that game.
Yeah, it's great.
Steve, what's your hang up with deck builders? I'm just curious. What did the deck builder do to you in high school?
The deck builder, I don't know. I just didn't. My first deck builder experience wasn't Dominion.
Oh, okay.
And when I did play Dominion, I thought, I can see this is a good game. But by that point, I had already felt like deck building just did not, there are some mechanics where it's like a tuning fork. It rings and it vibrates with your soul, and you just think, this is the kind of game I like. Deck building did not have that echo for me. The idea of building and culling to refine either did not click terribly well for me, and I found it not as fun as everybody else was at the table. So it was, I don't know why. I should probably give some that are good a second chance. But Star Realms for me felt like it was a bit of a slog because it was so much fighting and trying to take down points. And it was really just kind of like a deck-built version of the game of war that you used to play when you were little kids that I would just kind of wish that the game would be over at some point. I wanted it to be called Peace.
Oh yeah,
It just be over.
just be over.
And I kind of felt that way with a deck builder because I didn't feel like I was going anyplace with it.
So the pure deck builders, I totally get that. And to tell you the truth, I've moved on from most of those. It's the deck builders that do something else. It's just, it's like dice. It's just a mechanic that they use for something else. What about those? So, like the Dune Imperium or Lost
Great
Ruins
Western
of Ornac,
Trail.
Great Western Trail.
Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
Great Western Trail.
None of those?
Be careful with what you say now, Steve.
Yeah.
I am going to say something that's complimentary.
I've got my finger on the remove button
Western
right now.
Trail is a game that I've liked a lot. Okay. My peak liking for it was at the beginning, settled from being a game that I thought was great to being a game that I think is very good. But the thing that makes Great Western Trail interesting for me is not the building of my deck. It's the progress that I'm making and the choices that I'm making along the way to get there. So yeah, I am cycling through some of that, but I think that that was not the focus for me completely of the game, or it didn't have to be the focus of the game. Dune Imperium I played and I thought it was fine. Again, I like Dune, the theme, an awful lot, but I felt like it lasted far too long for what it was trying to do. And at least in the games that we played, it did not keep me very interested despite the theme. And if you're going to say Arnak, I felt like Arnak was good, but it felt like rather than being a synthesis of all of these other great mechanics, it felt like a mishmash of all the mechanics. Ooh, and it didn't feel like it didn't feel like it came together for me in a way that was like, oh, I enjoy this because all these different moving parts. I just thought it felt to me like all the moving parts
were just chaos.
Yeah, it was just kind of,
It did not hit well for me.
Yeah. And I came back and gave it another shot. And I recognize that it's good, but just because it's good doesn't mean that it has to be good for me. I can see the art in it, but it doesn't.
One play of Ornac?
Say again?
Or do y'all both just have one play of Ornac? Or
I've played one on the table, I think 3 times, all online.
Okay. One on the table, one online for me. So I would try it again on the table.
Yeah.
But it didn't capture me. Like one of my good gaming buddies here, the first time he played it, he was like, this is like in my top 10 forever now. And I was like, I'm not seeing that. Yeah. And I know your tastes and we have similar tastes. So I'm really curious as to how it's hitting just right for you.
It would not shock me, like Beyond the Sun, where people that would play it online first would not be that impressed with it. If you've played it live, and you know the game pretty well, and then you play it online, it's like any other game like Castle Burgundy where, okay, I know the mechanics. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just taking my turn.
And I played it on the table first before online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not. I've only been online.
Still didn't really help me.
And the other thing for me, though, is I grew up on stuff like Raiders of the Lost Ark in the movie theater. That should be a theme that should make me think this will be fantastic. I will love it.
Oh, I liked the theme a lot.
I thought the theme, in terms of its look, was fine, but I didn't feel like it really enhanced the game that much one way or the other. I didn't feel like I was, for me, theme is not like, do I feel like I'm an archaeologist? Because most times you don't. You recognize that you're just either rolling dice or taking cards or doing things. But the theme should at least make me feel like the environment of the game is inviting in some way. And I didn't, because what I was seeing with Arnak was lots of different moving parts rather than each moving part being thematic in some way. If I squinted, I could see it, but it didn't really do much for me. And it wasn't just because it was deck building, but that didn't help.
I think that's one of the mechanics that I really enjoy is if the deck building is part of the game, as a mechanic, I just like it.
I think I'm with you guys on that, with it being mixed in with other things, because, I love Great Western Trail. It's forever top 3 for me. But like, if it was straight deck building, I think of Dominion. I've played that 2 or 3 times. The first time I played it, I don't think I'd played a deck builder before. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And the second time I played it, I was like, I don't ever need to play this again.
But what I liked about Great Western Trail more than the building of the deck was the putting of your pieces and buildings out on the board, and the
push and pull of moving your train up the track,
or the tracks that you could add to and subtract. That was what I found most interesting. The deck building, if anything, made the game neutral for me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was what I liked better about that game than the deck building.
Sure.
So.
Well, I was checking the chat just to see if he had gotten in there. I don't see it there either. So
yeah,
I think we're gonna have to call it.
I think so.
We tried.
Alas.
It's a shame. You can tell me better about this, BJ. Does jambalaya last? Is it better in leftovers, or is it better the first time you cook it?
It's absolutely better in leftovers. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take the jambalaya game that we had for Keith, and we'll keep it ready for him. We'll put it up, and we'll keep it on the back burner.
I think we do. We're the good news is that if he has some availability this summer, we're ready.
Yeah, oh yeah. Push play.
I'm telling you, chat crew, Steve knocked it out of the park. Knocked it out of the park with these jambalaya clues. They would have been really fun if you're into baseball. So
yeah, there are a lot of them that are baseball, but some of them aren't too heavily baseball, or at least they're like mainstream baseball. You could have, by having ever seen a baseball game, you would have had the requisite knowledge to play.
We'll reach out to Keith tomorrow. Just tell him sorry we missed him, and then we'll try to reschedule.
Got to say, it was fun writing those again. It was good to get back into the rhythm of that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we'll call it a night then.
Sounds good.
And we'll call it a season too. So that's gonna put the wrap on it.
Well, it's been
so
great to have the season back.
Yes.
That's it for another episode of Gumbo Live. Verla and Steve, it's been fantastic season. I mean, we had some great guests. It was fun to get back into the saddle, and it's great talking. We even saw Jesse tonight. We hadn't seen him forever. It's been great chatting with Patrick and Don and Dean and everybody else that stopped by, and Dave and Jared. Oh, and Kevin. Yep. Looking forward to Chuck Con.
Yes.
I'll even bring Ornak if it's a possibility. Maybe.
I'll give it a go again.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go again.
All right. Well, you can always check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo, and the YouTube channel. It helps us get the word out of all of our upcoming shows. We obviously don't have one this summer scheduled because it's the end of the season. Good night, Patrick. But on Twitch, every other Tuesday, we are playing your games live on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/BoardGameGumbo. If you're going to be at bgg.spring, come say hello. The Gumbo crew is going to be there in force. We got a bunch of people from Louisiana that are all going to be there because, Dallas is 7 hours down. It's like going to Philly for you, Steve, right? Like tax. Yeah, something like that.
Well, it's Philly's closer, but, hey.
It's a nice, easy drive. Don't forget tickets for Southern Board Game Fest, Sobo. They are live. It is right now. It's just for the early birds. If you came last year like Patrick, you can get your tickets. There's only going to be 300 sold. Hey, if we sell them all out, that's the way it's going to be. I would imagine that we'll probably have a few left over. And once this little early bird thing is going to go out, the connection will be live to everybody else that wants to come. It's the largest board game festival in the little tri-state area. So come hang out with us. We got some big plans for this year. I was talking to Jason Dinger, probably going to be there to teach his games again. So maybe even get a play test of the third one in the trilogy, the Acadians. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah,
how is that connected to his grandpa?
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. I promise you, his grandpa is probably Acadian. So that's how it's gonna be. So catch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/BoardGameGumbo. I'm BJ from Board Game Gumbo, for Steve and for Verla. Until next time, Laissez, bon temps, rouler.
Good night, all.
See you, friends.
Good night, everybody.